beyond that, I guess I have a handful of recommendations, I suppose. One of the really nice things about game dev in particular is a lot of the information you need to work with is already online. You just kind of have to get out there and start doing it. YouTube is simultaneously your best friend and worst enemy. There are a ton of tutorials for game engines, for doing art, for doing programming. Like you just have to, start looking for them. In terms of just like deadlines and getting involved in like a community, there's online things like itch.io. They have a rolling events calendar of game jams that basically constantly come and go that you can hop into and like work on a project and then put it in front of any amount of people. And that can be really valuable for just getting your work seen. So those can be super useful. And then like real life hackathons can also be really helpful too. I highly recommend them. Sometimes universities will host them. And then sometimes companies will host them as well. So definitely keep an eye out for those kinds of opportunities if you can swing it. Yeah, there are a lot of technologies you can kind of start to look for and work with. Game engines like Unity, Godot, Unreal, and Twine are all like free, and you can like look up tutorials for things like that and try to make stuff with them today. That's probably one of my better, most like that's one of the things I recommend you do it at the very least. Companies are generally looking for people that have any amount of skill to work with, and having shipped games on your portfolio is super useful, even if they're like small, because it shows you can finish something or anything at all. So one of the other things I did a lot of in school was hackathons and like game jams, essentially. This is one of my teams from Code for Good and another one of my teams from Reality Hack. They are basically, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the idea of a hackathon, but it's essentially like a couple days, sometimes up to a week of working on a single project with a team of other developers and or students. And they're super useful just for like experimenting with something you've kind of had in the back of your head for a while, networking. You can make a lot of friends at these kinds of events. They're super useful and valuable and kind of help you like play with ideas in a more like concentrated environment that you might not necessarily like have the focus to by yourself. So I highly recommend doing like hackathons or game jams or anything along those lines if you can swing it. I also started a game development meetup group for a while, the Delaware Games Collective. It was basically a way for me to build a community of game developers in the state I was in, and we would meet up and work on our games together, maybe like every couple months. It was great. We had a lot of like prototypes and interesting conversations together and could kind of give each other feedback on the things we were working on. So finding like any sort of community like that can be really helpful for just like working with other people on things.